Good afternoon, class. It's Chris here, and we are going to edit a photo through GIMP, and we're going to make a normal photo, apocalyptic, fireballs, really cool. So first, we need to import the image. So we open up GIMP here, and this is our main, the one I just maximized is the main workspace, and you want to go File, Open. And there's all these stuff here, and this is the photo we're going to work with. So open that up, and there we go. So what we're going to do is go for some fireballs through here, an explosion in the distance, make it look really cool. So first of all, what we have to do is make a duplicate layer. There we go. So that is really easy, and how you do that is you just press this button here in the layers, channels, and paths dock, and that is how you create another layer. Now first we're going to increase the contrast of the photo so it looks really nice. So click the first layer there, and then I'm going to go to colors, brightness, contrast, and increase the contrast a bit. Let the colors pop, and we'll do 25. I think that looks pretty nice. So there we go. And then for the copy of the background, what we're going to do is go to layers and mode, where my mouse is at the moment, and go to overlay. So as you see what it just did there, what overlay does is meshes the two pictures together, and it's really good because it intertwines all the layers and makes it look pretty cool. So that's what I just did there, and now you can see it looks nice. So we're going to create a new layer, and that's just this button here in your paths and layers and channels dock, and we're going to call that one explosion. And now we can start editing the photo even more. So you want to go over to the toolbox here on your left hand side and go to the paintbrush. So now, as you see, I can start painting, but I don't want to paint that. What I want to do is go over to the right hand side here, and I installed these special brushes, which is awesome for GIMP because it's open source, so you can download a lot of free extras. There's hundreds and thousands of brushes and loads of different stuff. So on the color tab here, we have black chosen, so we're going to start creating some black smoke, and let's make it a little bit bigger, and we're going to have some smoke billowing off in the distance there. And you don't have to worry about what it looks like. So all I'm doing is just clicking where I want it to go, and then if you want it to be more dense and dark, you can click it numerous times or just hold it there, and I'll just funnel it down so it looks real. And there we go, something like that maybe. Doesn't have to be perfect. So now there's your smoke in the distance. We need to create a new layer, and this time we're going to add orange to it, so I'm just going to call it Explosion Orange. And again, with this brush, all you have to do is go over to your colors and change it to orange, and you can just type orange in right here. And there we go. Now, I think this orange is a little bit too bright, so what I'm going to do is darken it a little bit, something like that, and start coloring it a little bit. So now we have just finishing up the orange brushes here. Let me zoom out a bit. Here we go. And what we're going to do to this layer is go to layer mode and change it to multiply. The modes, all they do is make layers, and they change. Well, they don't make layers, but they change the way the layers are seen and how they all work together. So they use some complicated equations and figure out what colors need to go where. So what we're going to do here is make a second explosion orange layer, and this is going to be for the highlight kind of part. So you want to do the same as last time and just paint some more orange on that cloud of smoke. And this is all totally up to you. Just if you want to make it look extra good, you can take a lot of time, and you just want to make it look as accurate as possible. So something like that. And then instead of doing multiply this time, we're going to change the layer to dodge. So there you go. We got kind of two-tone looking thing here, and then if I add just a little bit more, there you go. So what we're going to do is create a new layer, and it's going to be called explosion ring. And what this explosion ring is going to do, so first of all, if you want to zoom in, there's a fast way to do it. You hold down Control button and then use your scrolling wheel, and you'll zoom in. And what we're going to do is create a ring of light around the base, so around here, so it looks like it's producing a lot of energy and light and heat. So take the ellipse tool, something like that, and then of course you can still move it around a bit. Okay, my mistake. So that looks pretty good there. And now what we're going to do is fill it with orange color. So we go over to the bucket fill tool and pour in orange, and there's our color orange, so we're good there. So there we go. Now we have an orange filled ellipses. Now it looks kind of silly now because it just looks like a shape stuck in right there. So what we're going to do is go to filters at the top here, go to blur, and then Gaussian blur. And what this is going to do is blur the outside edges so it kind of fits in a little bit better. Still doesn't look very good, so what we're going to do to that is change the layer mode. So we use this quite a lot, and it really does work well. And we're going to change it to dodge. So now you see, whoa, it's brightened up quite a bit. Now, as we look back here, it looks kind of cool, but the problem is that you can still see the outline of the image. So we're going to turn the opacity down just a little bit. And also what you can do, just one of my favorite things, so you can zoom into the image and you can erase the layer itself. So check this out, and you can erase certain parts. So something like that maybe, and still turn the opacity down just a bit so it doesn't look so obvious that it's So as you can see, I made another fireball there, and what we're going to do is create debris so it looks like stuff has actually exploded and from the explosion there. So I want to do File, Open as Layers, and there's a PNG file called, and as you can see, this file is now on top. And what we have to do is go over to the toolbox on the left hand side and do the scale button here. So we click that, and we can now scale the image to whatever size we like. And this little lock button, now you can scale the pixels proportionally, which I like. So we don't want it too big, and we just want to show some debris at the bottom, so it's actually going to be quite small. So something like that. And we'll do scale, and then we'll zoom in and change it a little bit more. looks pretty good to me, so I will click scale. And there we go. So now it looks somewhat like we have some debris coming from the explosion. Now if you zoom out, it still looks quite rectangular. That's not good enough, so what I'm going to do is press the eraser tool here, and I'm stuck on a cloud brush, so let me just pick a smaller brush over here, and I'll just erase part of this layer. And the great thing about this is it doesn't erase the whole photo, it just erases the layer. So we can now erase this rectangular looking image and make it a bit more realistic. So now I can make it look like all the stuff's getting shot out, and we zoom out and it looks pretty good. So now that we have created the highlighted layer there, we're going to create a new layer. So the layer tab up at the top here, and we'll create a new layer, and make sure that the last layer was selected so it goes on top of it, not in between. And we'll call this one Fireball. And now what we're going to do is pretty fun. So you're going to click the paintbrush button here, and under the brushes on your right hand side, go back to these cloud brushes here, and I'll pick number 5. And for colors, if you click these two buttons, it automatically sets it to black and white for you. And now we can just start making fireballs. So if you have that problem, you have to click select none, then you click the fireball, and now you can paint. So if I just make it in the shape of a fireball coming in, and then make it smaller as well, so it looks like the distance is changing. And what we can do now is create another layer, and we can call it Fireball Orange. And what we're going to do is just the same thing. So like we did to the explosion. So you accent it there and just add some orange to it. And you have to adjust the paintbrush. And then for mode, we're going to pick multiply. Actually, we're going to pick dodge. And what we're also going to do is make a new layer, and we will call it Fireball Yellow. So we're going to change the color over here, and you just type in yellow. And we'll just highlight the tip there, so it gives it that realistic effect. And again, we'll change the mode to dodge. And I don't like my fireball black part at the moment, so what I'm going to do is just make it a little bit better. Okay, so now we've done that, and we can create however many fireballs you want. So I will create another one, and just doing this using the same methods I did, and I'll be right back. So all we're doing here is opening the concrete texture. So you can make any photo with texture, and concrete just works extra well here because it will give that kind of grainy effect. And all you have to do is Google concrete effect or concrete texture or something like that. No. Okay. So we will just scale the photo manually. So that's there. And that's there. So now all we have to do is change the mode to overlay, and it gives that kind of texture right there, and I think that looks pretty awesome. So we can always change the opacity if you want, and that will just make it less grainy or more grainy, but I like extra grainy, so that's what I'm going to go for. Now to add a little bit more color, this is what we're going to do here. So we'll make a new layer and call it color. And what we're going to do is click the blend tool on the left hand side here, and we're going to go from the gradient. So if you see where my mouse is here, the gradient, foreground to background, that's what this means. And there's all these different things you can change. These are all the different colors. There's rainbows, flags, you name it. But what we're going to do is just go from foreground to background, and our foreground at the moment is yellow and our background is white, so we need to change that to make it go black. And what it's going to do at the top here, it's going to brighten it up a little bit and have a kind of yellowy tone, and at the bottom it's going to make it nice and dark. So what we're going to do is click at the top of the image, drag it down, and this line comes up. You want to make it kind of straight, and all you do is let go, and you should have white, yellow at the top and black at the bottom. Now all you have to do is set this mode to overlay, just like we did the last one, and now you have that color difference, which I think looks really awesome. Now what you can, and if we want to make this area a little bit brighter so it kind of looks like you can see aspects of it better and effects, so if you go to filters and you go to light and shadow and lighting effects, as you can see over here, it's pretty light. So if you drag it up to 1.5, this will make it a little bit darker. And it's just computing. And when that's done, all we're going to do is just add a sepia tone, which is, you know, that old-fashioned kind of tan color to it. And that'll give it slightly of a slight orange hue, and we'll be done. So we'll just make one last new layer by clicking here, and we'll call it sepia. And all we'll do is we'll get the bucket, and we'll fill it with orange. So you type in orange, or you can make your own orange. And there you go, it's now filled. And we'll set it to overlay. And that is a bit too bright, so let me turn down the opacity a little bit.